Just to start, specifically the game that you together, were a few guys that had some painful blocks, painful hits, Graham Slager, Roseanne, I think Brandon Byro, so maybe it happened to him in the second. Is there an update on any of those three?
Byro, Slager, Roseanne are all good. They practiced today. They're fine. Byro was held out of third period precautionary reasons with the playoffs looming. And Slags and Rosie just, bumps and bruises this time of year.
Can you talk about what it takes on the selfless side of things to deal with those bumps and bruises up your team?
Well, that last 2.5 minutes was an awesome shift. Yapst, Slager, Roseanne, which isn't a line, but those guys earned the right to be out there in those minutes with how good a defense they've played down the stretch. And Prowsey and Ryan Johnson on D. And, Roseanne, there was like 3 or 4 block shots in that sequence, but Roseanne's was really impressive. That's a backside one-timer. He's a young first-round skill guy. That's what people think, right? And but his game is rounded out so well. He takes such pride in being a winning hockey player. So that was fabulous block. And then Slaggert, that's what the first thing Kevin Adams said to me the next morning when we talked. He said, "How did Graham Slaggert win that race after 2.5 minutes in the defensive zone?" And it's a credit to the work he's put in. He has put a ton of extra work on fitness with Nick Craven, our strength coach, and those are the moments you see it pay off.
That's got to be pretty cool when the GM is recognizing, especially a guy like Slags too, on an AHL contract.
100%. That's what I said to him. I said, and he talked about Rosie's block shot. I said to Rosie, I was like, well, it was, it's first thing, second thing Kevin said was the block shot, right? Rosie, first thing he said was Graham Slager, and I let Slags know that. Anytime you get an NHL general manager talking about you, especially when you're on an AHL deal, that's a good thing.
There are still a couple of guys that weren't out these last couple of weeks. Tyson Kozak, Brett Murray, any update on the playoffs?
Murray is still, he won't be ready this weekend. He's getting closer, but thank you. And Kozak practiced today. He skated non-contact yesterday, full practice today. He's getting close. We're not going to hurry him back in lineup. He's been out for a bit, but he's getting close.
So with Murray being likely out the week, is Kozak possible for the week?
Maybe, yeah.
Going into this week, it's playoff time now. Well, what was your message to the team getting out guys for first practice this week?
Not much different. I'm not a guy that I don't believe in changing what we've done all year. It's just you build on what we've done all year. It's not the time for rah-rah speech or any of those things. We had a playoff meeting. We met yesterday before practice and talked, and mostly had the guys talk. Michael Mersch won a Calder Cup. Dustin Tokarski's won 2. Nathan Pache has won 2, 1 as a captain. Vinny Prospel's been to a Stanley Cup final. So I talked a little bit, but for the most part, I facilitated the meeting and had those 4 guys talk about what it means to win, how to win this time of the year, and things to be prepared for.
Seth, you talked after that Syracuse meeting back in February, before you guys got hot last month of the season, about you need to sacrifice more when it comes to goal scoring. And obviously, the success on the ice seems to indicate that you did that. Can you see over the last 2 months where that improved since that game, February 28th?
Yeah, we played them so many times, I don't know if I remember exactly the game.
Well, then just last 2 months.
Yeah.
You talked about it in February.
Yes.
Where did you see that?
Well, I think in the last 10 games or so, we were, I think, number 1 in 5-on-5 offense. And you only score 5-on-5, not only score, but a lot of the ways you score 5-on-5 at this time of the year is the hard way. We are skilled enough to score nice goals, and we score them and we work on that stuff a lot. But you do need to score dirty goals at this time of the year, 5-on-5. You just have to. We've just been a slow build through the year, and certainly the last 2 months was our best hockey of the season, as we saw on the scoreboard. But we feel that it's just been steady progression of getting better defensively and better at the dirtier areas of the game. And the better you do that stuff, the more you get the puck. And then the more you get the puck, the more your offense can shine. And so we've scored harder, dirtier goals, and we've paid a higher price, which we're going to have to against Syracuse because they're stingy. But I think part of that is we've defended much better, which then forces more turnovers, which gets us the puck more.
sorry to again quote number 556 out of 1,000 at this year, but you said that press conference also that you weren't as good as Syracuse then. How do you feel about yourself now?
Well, we'll find out real soon. I like where we're at a lot better right now than I did in January or February. We're a better hockey team, and I'd be disappointed in myself if we weren't a better hockey team at the end of the year than the middle. So, but I've got a lot of respect for Syracuse. I know how well coached they are. I know how physical they are. I know how good a hockey team and hockey players they have in that over there. So this is going to be a great test. We'll be prepared for it, but it's going to be a heck of a battle.
What were your thoughts of Noah Osler over the weekend, and what's the process like of getting him as acclimated as quickly as possible, going from the European sheet to what playoff hockey is going to be like?
Yeah, he's drinking from a fire hose right now. He's just taking a lot of information in, right? And I thought he got better every period over the 6 periods this weekend. That was really important that we got him here in time to get a couple games in important games. Playoff, that Cleveland game felt like a playoff game. And you play Utica, there's no space in that rank. And so, I'm going to watch video with him today. I didn't want to overdo it with him early on. But I sat with him on the bus ride after the first game he played against Cleveland, and I asked him what his takeaways were. And he's like, just let no time and space. I remember Matt Savoy talking about that last year as well. Just no time and space, and how quickly people are on you, and how much more physical it is. Olympic-sized ice, there isn't as much of that. And, he's smart enough, but it's more important in North America that, especially in playoff time, you have to take in information before you get the puck. And if you're not taking in information before you get the puck, by the time you get the puck, you're not going to know the play you want to make. So those are things I thought he did better in Utica than he did Friday here. I thought Friday here he got the puck, then was surprised by pressure. And I thought in Utica he was taking in information, so he knew the play you want to make. A great example as the assist he got. He was right under pressure on a step. He solved the pressure to get it to Roseanne, and then Roseanne and Metza went down a 2-on-1 and converted. And so he got better, like I said, every period, and then every practice right now is really good for him.
Coach, last year we talked, and you said with the young team, you can prepare them all you want for playoff hockey, and then you get punched in the face. How well do you think that last year's experience with some of those younger guys has them prepared to get punched in the face again?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get punched in the face against Syracuse. That's their style. They have a mean physical decor. I think we're more prepared than we were last year because of the experiences we went through. But something that Mershey talked about too is that every year is a new year, and you got to earn it again. And the experience you gain is important, but it doesn't make it easier. It's important knowledge that you have of what's coming down the road at you. But it doesn't make it easier. You still got to take the punch. You still got to be willing to go through cross checks and holdings and interferences and things like that to get to the front of the net, to get the puck, things of that nature. So there's a high price to pay to be successful at this time of the year. There's a high price to pay to be able to score at this time of the year. And we just have to be willing to pay that price.
I know you talk about Syracuse and other teams, older, bigger, physical. It's not fair to call your team young anymore, right? Like at this point, there's no excuses of like, they've been through this, they've been through a season, like, time to put on big boy pants kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't refer to our team as young. We are. And so it's talked about in the media and things like that, because we are more of a prospect-based team. Cooley and Rosie and guys like that have went through 2 seasons and deep playoff run, and Noich has been through a 72-game season and been through the battles of the North Division. And nothing prepares you better for the playoffs than playing in this division. And this division's been great all 3 years, but this year even more so. Utica and Laval are really good hockey teams. Utica swept Hershey this year, right? And I think they only lost 12 or 13 games the whole season. So our division is as much as you can. It'll wrench up another notch this week, but our division, as much as you can, battle test you for this.
Thoughts about having a home playoffs, home ice advantage, what Friday is going to be like?
Yeah, I'm excited. This place is electric, as we all remember the last 2 years, and the energy in Blue Cross. Our fans are amazing. It's a real privilege, and it's something we don't take for granted at all. We're very grateful for the support we get. I feel that this team, over the last couple of years, is found an emotional connection with Rochester and Western New York. We win with a lot of resilience and grit and togetherness and real pesky type of mindset. I think it fits the people of Western New York, and I think that's part of the reason that the connection has been so strong between the fans and our team.
Yeah, if there's something from last year's playoffs, other than obviously winning, that you thought, wow, that was awesome. I hope I get to relive that again this year.
I don't know if there's one moment, that sticks out for me. For me, I love coaching this team. We've got a great group. And I said to him the other day, and this is why I'm excited, we're ready. Doesn't mean we're going to be successful, but we're ready. And I think only 2 times this year have I had to stop practice. There's guys, you go into guys in line and be like, hey, that's not good enough right now, I need better. But as a group, I think only 2 times the whole season, we practice a ton, that I've had to actually stop practice and give it to them about we need to be sharper. That's impressive. And they've earned a lot of trust in each other and for me. And so for me, I just want to get to coach them another day. And the more you win at this time of the year, the more you get to stay together and you get to keep being a team. And that's, to me, is the goal, is try to keep this team together as long as possible.
Seth, this is more point the crowd. You talked last year about bringing the crowd into the fight with you. If you had to remind them that it's not just goals, you said it's fights, it's hits, it's blocking shots. Does that get re-emphasized in playoff hockey of, hey, that stuff can also bring this crowd to life?
Yes, 100%. I talked about, with the group that what brought us into the fight and brought us and really emotionally connected us to the series at a higher level, which you need to, and the fans, was Brett Murray in Game 3 last year. And I thought he willed our team into that series. And obviously we don't have him right now. And so we need other guys to do some of those things. And big hits, fights, goals, block shots, great efforts, like Brandon Byro's back check in overtime against Cleveland, a 200-foot back check and a diving play to break up a backdoor goal. Those are the type of things, especially our fan base in Western New York, really appreciate that blue-collar mentality that this group needs to embody.
What can Devin gain from a playoff series, maybe hopefully a long run? And what do you hope he kind of gains in terms of personal development?
I think that as a goalie, goalie is a lonely position. And you're back there with your own thoughts, sometimes your own demons. And, there's nothing, you're alone back there. You have a team, but a player is, struggling, whatever, they come back to the bench and a line mate or a teammate might be able to pick them up, or a coach or whatever it is. As a goalie, these experiences, they strengthen you and they harden you. Failure or success. When I was in college, I always looked for goalies that had lots of failure, but then also followed that with lots of success and successful playoff runs deep into the junior playoffs, things of that nature, because those are things that you can lean on in future hard moments as a goaltender. And Devin's already had a lot of those big moments, winning bean pots and World Juniors and all of those things. He's already had a lot of those moments that he can draw on from experience, but now this is an opportunity to go through that in the playoffs to grow for his future.
How similar or different are these two teams facing off now than where they were a year ago in the playoffs?
That's a good question. It's not something I've spent a lot of time thinking about, so I don't know if I have a good answer for it. We're a different team, they're a different team, and now there are similarities, certainly, stylistically. They have a new coach though, so there's differences in that regard as well. I think what we have is we have 2 really good hockey teams that are right up at the top of any teams in the American Hockey League. And you're playing a team that you know intimately and that you don't like at all. And it's just going to be a really fun, challenging test.
In your experience being in this game a long time, is there a difference? If so, what is the difference between a playoff team and a true championship contender?
I don't know if I understand the question.
You'll always have teams that make the playoffs in any league, and a lot of them are, there's often a
Playoff team and a team that can contend for a championship?
team that people are really eyeballing as that team can probably go on.
I think that grows through the playoffs. I don't think any team totally, maybe Hershey because of the season they've had. But I don't think any team totally starts the playoffs as a team that is a championship team. I think that has to build and grow through what those young men give each other through however long this goes. And you gain experience, you gain confidence, you gain trust in each other, and it just keeps building. And the energy and the passion and the competitiveness and the belief in each other, I think, grows through it. So we were a way better team by games 4, 5, and 6 of the Hershey series than we were in games 1 and 2 in the Syracuse series. And those are the teams that end up becoming true championship contending teams that have the will and the grit and the ability to grow and get better as the playoffs go forward.
Any thoughts on Lindy, and have you talked to him yet?
I've texted with Lindy. We're scheduled to talk sometime today. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for our organization. I don't know him, but I know a lot of people that have played for him or have worked for him, and they all rave about what kind of coach he is, what kind of person he is, what kind of leader he is. And so for us to have someone like that in our organization that we can all work with and learn from is an awesome experience.